It was a cold evening in the small town of Redbrook. The kind of place where everyone knew each other, and the biggest excitement was the weekly bingo game at the local community hall. But that night, something unusual happened. A strange, static-filled signal was intercepted by a small amateur radio station. The static cut through the airwaves, a sound that made the hairs on the back of people's necks stand up. No one knew what it was or where it came from. The only thing that was certain was that it was not from Earth. David, the station's operator, had been in the radio business long enough to recognize when something wasn't just a glitch. He quickly recorded the signal, sending it off to a few trusted friends. It wasn't long before the news spread. It was viral, and soon, people from all around the world were tuning in to listen, to understand, to figure out who or what was trying to communicate. The world buzzed with excitement and fear. Was this the moment humanity had been waiting for? Or was it a warning? Days passed, and the world's top scientists began studying the signal. Some thought it was a hoax. Others believed it could be a prank from a distant part of the globe. But for the most part, no one could explain the source or the meaning. Then, something changed. The signal came again. But this time, it was different. It wasn't just static. It was a pattern, deliberate, precise, like a code. A message. The world stood still. This was not a random signal. This was an attempt at communication. Theories started flying, but one thing became clear: whoever or whatever was out there, they were trying to speak with us. David's phone rang late one night. It was from an unknown number. When he picked up, a voice, calm and confident, but unmistakably foreign, spoke to him. "We've been waiting for you." As the days went by, the world tried to make sense of the growing mystery. David and a small group of experts, including scientists, engineers, and even cryptographers, began working around the clock to decode the message. With each passing day, they grew closer to understanding. The code was becoming more complex, and with every breakthrough, the realization settled in. This wasn't just a message, it was an invitation. The world's leaders held tense meetings, trying to decide how to respond. Some wanted to reach out, to learn more. Others were afraid. What if this wasn't just a friendly gesture? What if these beings weren't as peaceful as they seemed? But David, after weeks of studying the signal, found something that made him pause. Hidden within the sequence was a pattern, a map. A location. It pointed to a specific place on Earth, deep in the ocean. No one had noticed it before. It was like a secret message just for him, for them. David, along with a team of scientists and military personnel, was given the task of investigating. It was dangerous, but it was the only lead they had. The world watched as the expedition was launched. The place they were heading to was uncharted, and no one knew what they would find. When the team arrived, they discovered an underwater structure. It was massive, unlike anything that should have existed on Earth. It was a bridge, spanning an oceanic abyss. The structure was ancient, built by unknown hands, yet the materials used were not from Earth. The bridge wasn't just physical, it was a connection, a gateway. This was it. The bridge between us. But when they tried to explore it, strange things began to happen. Equipment malfunctioned. Electronics flickered. Then, one by one, team members began to hear the same voice. It wasn't speaking words, but it was unmistakably familiar, the voice David had heard. "We've been waiting." The team realized the truth. The signal wasn't just a message. It was a test. And they were being invited to cross this bridge, into the unknown. But the question remained, were they ready? David stood at the edge of the massive structure. The bridge stretched out before him, its dark metallic surface gleaming under the eerie light from the distant stars. The team had set up their equipment, monitoring every possible variable. They had no idea what they would find on the other side, but the only way to discover the truth was to step forward. As David walked across the bridge, he could feel the weight of history bearing down on him. Every step seemed to carry him further from Earth, further into a realm where humans had never ventured before. The air felt different, charged with energy. It was as if the bridge itself was alive. Then, a voice spoke in his head, clearer than ever before. "You've crossed into a realm between worlds. You are no longer just human. You are part of something greater. The team followed, one by one. The bridge was a conduit, not just a physical passage, but a link between Earth and another civilization. The further they traveled, the more they realized that they weren't just crossing an ocean, they were crossing into the unknown, into the very fabric of the universe. At the end of the bridge, they found what they had been looking for, an alien city, ancient and vast. The architecture was unlike anything they had ever seen: impossible angles, twisting shapes, and structures that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Yet, it was beautiful. There was a feeling of peace, of a civilization that had long transcended the chaos of war, of greed, of conflict. As the team explored, they learned that this civilization, long gone, had discovered the ability to cross between worlds, to connect different realms. And now, they had left behind their legacy, hoping that humanity would learn the same lessons and join them in their journey. But before they could truly understand the implications of their discovery, something unexpected happened. The voice, once so calm and welcoming, became urgent. The bridge is closing. You must return now. Panic spread. The bridge was disappearing, vanishing into thin air. The team scrambled, but not all of them would make it back. In the end, only David managed to return, crossing the bridge just as it vanished completely. Back on Earth, the world waited for his return. What had he learned? What had they found? As David stood on the shore, looking out at the vast ocean, he realized the message was clear: humanity had just taken its first step. But the bridge was gone, and the only way forward was to evolve, to connect, and to reach for the stars. The story touches on the ethics of communication and exploration. It raises questions about humanity's readiness to encounter something unknown. What happens when we reach out to the unknown, and how do we respond when it reaches back? The story also explores the responsibility of knowledge, how much should be shared, and what the consequences could be if humanity isn't ready for the truth. The concept of trust is also central. The aliens, despite their superior knowledge and technology, offer a choice to humanity: to evolve and become part of something greater. The ethics of this decision revolve around humanity's willingness to accept change, to let go of old fears, and to embrace a new way of thinking. Ultimately, the story suggests that ethical progress is not just about knowledge but about wisdom, knowing when to act and when to wait.